Merry Christmas! Happy New Year! Can you tell it's Christmas time by the lack of interesting news stories? Everybody in media likes to go on holiday this time of year. We get a little lazy. And you can tell because the big story right now, I use big with P.T. Barnum quotes here, big story is that CBC cut Donald Trump from their rebroadcast of Home Alone 2. Now, why is this a news story? This is a great example of understanding the intestinal GI tract of how news operates. So we're going to talk about it. And we're going to use the phrase, by whom for what. So the story is, by whom for what purpose? Donald Trump gets cut from Home Alone 2 by the Canadian broadcast channel. Where did this story originate? It was birthed how? Well, it was birthed by Fox and Friends. Now, Fox and Friends is not a news show. Fox News has news shows. I'll defend them. You may disagree. But they do have news shows. Fox and Friends is not one of them. It is a cultural commentary show. But given all their journalists are on holiday, they still need to come up with content. So what do they come up with? They come up with a story, or they notice that CBC has cut Donald Trump's, his 6-second cameo from Home Alone 2. That's the story. By whom? By Fox and Friends. For what purpose? Well, Fox and Friends knows their audience likes Donald Trump. They need a Donald Trump friendly content. And a good Donald Trump friendly content is the fact that he was cut by those liberal Canadians. And you get a host or somebody to come on and say, this is censorship. Now, does this have to be a factual statement? No, of course not. It's an opinion, but it's an opinion-based show. It's not news. That's the point. The story, the nexus of the story, by whom, Fox and Friends, for what purpose, to appeal to their Donald Trump-friendly audience, was not news.
They're terrified of these little things that will remind people of just how deranged his opponents.
It's also censorship, but
what happened? Well, Donald Trump started to tweet about it, and his son, Donald Trump Jr., started to tweet about it. This forced CBC to issue a statement defending why they cut Donald Trump's cameo. They said, "We cut his cameo along with other segments of the movie to make room for commercial breaks on our television rebroadcast," which is entirely believable to me. Movies are cut down all the time to make room for commercials on television. They've been doing this for decades. And Donald Trump's moment in the movie did not advance the plot at all. But now it's news. Now that the real journalists, once again I'm going to use P.T. Barnum quotes, real journalists, the news industrial complex, can turn it into a story. So now CNN's running stories about it, and I think this was the headline. They got some people to commentate on it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we can see right here with the power of movie magic. CNN's talking about it. Now Fox is talking about it on all their various shows. NBC News is talking about it. It's on YouTube. Great. Now it's a news story. But is this news at the end of the day? No. Just because it tastes like news, feels like news, is presented as news by people that seem like they come from the realm of news, behind the pearly gates of news acronyms like ABC and CNN and NBC, doesn't make it news. Doesn't mean we have to consume it like news. Doesn't mean we have to pay attention to it. And that's, I guess, really what I want to talk about is what we choose to pay attention to. And this a little blip, the idea that Fox and Friends is going to bring up by whom for what to appeal to their small niche Donald Trump friendly audience, is now what we're all paying attention to. The larger public, United States, Europe, Canada, has been sucked into this. Plus, we should be thinking about who wants this to be a story. Why is Donald Trump tweeting about an inarguably irrelevant anecdote in Canada? It's because he wants it to be a story, and he knows when he tweets, the president tweets, and when the president tweets, it's news. When the head of the United States is tweeting about a subject, no matter how immaterial and insignificant it may be, a lot of reporters and journalists feel obligated to cover it. And he knows this is a great misdirection tool, as do many politicians or other people that know how to manipulate the media. Trump recognizes that amplifying the fact that CBC cut his 6-second cameo out of their Home Alone 2 rerun detracts valuable resources, both away from newsrooms and journalists to cover more important information like perhaps his impeachment or our geopolitical relationships with China, but even more importantly, it becomes a focal point for our valuable attention. Because when it's focused on the fact that CBC is cutting him out of Home Alone 2, he knows and we know it's not focused on other important issues. It's not a real news story. It's not worth our attention. And a good way of deciphering, decoding what is legitimate news, what we should pay attention to, what we should give our limited, valuable attention to, what we choose to focus on. A great tool is by whom for what. And for this news story, it was an anecdote by a cultural show for a small Donald Trump friendly audience. It should not be on the radar for the rest of us. It's not worth us paying attention to. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Is this a ridiculous news story, or do you think this has broader appeal? This is worth paying attention to. Maybe I'm wrong. I often am. Leave a comment down below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you dislike this video, like it anyway. And if you made it this far in the video, maybe perhaps consider subscribing. Please, pretty please. Like Oliver Twist, please, sir. A subscription. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.